Hi, Chief Tucker. What's up, Flagler? We are here with Fire Chief Mike Tucker for Flagler County Fire and Rescue, and we're going to be talking about some fireworks safety. Right now, we're under some pretty severe drought conditions, and not really sure if there's any rain in sight. So, how will that play into your guys' preparation for fireworks safety in the 4th of July?
Well, obviously myself and Chief Barry Olson, Tom Coates, are talking a lot, about the weather right now and the potential for wildfires and things like that. So we're meeting on a consistent basis about what we're going to do with July 4th, as we move forward. There's still a good amount of time, that we could get some rain. Obviously it hasn't been, very fruitful recently, but, we're hopeful that we could get some in the future. But this will be an ongoing conversation. But with all intents and purposes, we plan on actually having the fireworks display on July 4th.
Okay. If these drought conditions were to still continue, or we don't get enough rain to really saturate everything, what would you like to say to the residents who are probably going to be celebrating at home, wanting to do bonfires, fireworks?
Yeah, I know it's tempting. Everybody wants to celebrate. I mean, and the reality is July 4th is a great way to celebrate, and it's a great reason, to celebrate. But this is one of those situations where, we're asking people to help us, and that is to allow the pros, to do the shows. So if you don't really feel the overwhelming need to light off fireworks yourself, we just ask you, to go to the airport, enjoy the fireworks over the runway. And just it's a magnificent show, and just to enjoy that opportunity. But if for some reason people feel that they really have to, to get fireworks on their own and to do it, we really want them to just to be safe and to take the precautions to make sure that we don't end up with a situation that's very bad.
Okay. Do you mind going over some different precautions that people can take if they feel that overwhelming urge? Even if we do get some rain in between now and then, obviously there's precautions that people should be taking, especially if they're lighting them off in a densely populated area like the city of Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, Bunnell. What are some things that the residents can do to help make their neighborhoods a little bit more safe while they celebrate?
Well, I think first of all, everybody needs to recognize that fireworks are, made of materials that burn very hot. Some of them are explosive, in nature. So making sure those precautions are there so that you don't light off fireworks that are close to combustible materials. That includes homes, that includes cars, that includes, piles of wood, firewood, those kinds of things. Making sure you stay away from those areas. Making sure that the children, that are not, handling the fireworks themselves. And I know it is real tempting, to allow a child to handle a firework, or, or to just to trust them, to just do one simple thing. But the reality is that, that they are children, and when something bad happens, they don't know enough to help themselves. So when they've got explosives in their hand, it can get very bad. And also to recognize that they don't need to hold on to things that they're fixing to light. Because again, if a fuse burns faster than they had planned on, or they thought it was going to burn, then they've got something that goes off in their hand. And it's unfortunately, fireworks cause about 19,000 injuries, a year. And some of those injuries can be life-changing. Obviously, we're made with 10 toes and 10 fingers, and absent, any traumatic injury. And unfortunately, fireworks can be some of those traumatic injuries that change that fact. And so that can change somebody's life, for a long time.
Okay. Speaking of children with fireworks, a lot of families love having sparklers for the kids. What are your thoughts on sparklers, and what would you say is a recommendable age for something like a sparkler?
That is really a hard call to make. There is no hard decision as far as whether it's 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, or 5-year-old. Generally when somebody gets beyond 5, you can count on them to follow directions and those kinds of things. But again, you've got to know that child. I think the big thing is to wherever possible, just avoid allowing children to use fireworks.
Okay. What about any tips for people lighting off fireworks that leave the ground? I know that Sheriff Staley tries to make himself available for residents that call in. But we all know from living in Palm Coast that almost everybody in the neighborhood is buying them. They're setting them off. If they're going to be setting them off, is there something that they should know to do it in a safer manner?
Yeah. The reality is that when you're inside of a confined area, like a residential community, whether it be a Palm Coast, whether it be a Banana, whether it be a Flagler Beach, anything that elevates has a lot of potential to carry that fire, that explosive, somewhere you don't intend it to be. So you can't control it once it leaves the ground. So for fireworks that elevate, our recommendation is don't. Don't use them, don't get them, don't mess with them. There are so many things that can go wrong with fireworks that elevate, and I understand the desire. It is impressive, when they go up and they explode. But the reality is that when they explode, bad things can happen. And especially when a firework goes in a direction that you didn't intend it, to go. And unfortunately, if you take a look at YouTube, or anywhere on the internet, you will find videos of people where things have gone bad wrong. And again, with things that explode, when it goes bad wrong, there's no time to reel that situation in. You can't undo that. And that genie is out of the bottle. It may go where somebody is not. But most of the time, that's not the case. And that's the point in time when we get called and we have to do the things that we know how to do. And honestly, this is that time of year when we would rather you not call us. We were not rather not do the things that we know how to do.
Yeah. Do you happen to know roughly about how many actual house fires that happened on or around the 4th of July due to fireworks last year?
Two that we were called. And both of those situations were the individuals, got rid of the fireworks. They disposed of them, but they didn't dispose of them properly. They thought that the values were out, and they weren't. So if you have fireworks, we recommend that you dispose of them in a bucket of water and leave it in the bucket of water for quite a while, preferably overnight. But at least about a 30-minute window. Just keep those things submerged so that they have the opportunity to soak up the water and to truly be put out.
Okay. Do you happen to remember if there were any injuries that EMS had to respond out to last year? Any severe ones?
Yeah, we did not have to respond to anything severe last year. I understand, anecdotally, that there were several scary situations where fireworks did go off in the direction of people. So, law enforcement had to get involved in those situations. So I think everybody needs to understand that if an accident happens, with fireworks, in addition to the potential problem of having a medical treatment, I guarantee the law enforcement will be involved.
Do you have any last messages that you want to send to the residents to think about over the next few weeks as we prepare up for the 4th of July?
Well, again, I'm going to point out the fact that that the fireworks over the airport, over the runway, is going on again this year. Everything will be on the back side of the airport, off the same way. It's going to be a pretty fun show. Beyond that, just if you're going to use fireworks, remember that alcohol and fireworks so if anybody has been drinking, just like a designated driver, the designated driver.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about fire safety. You can find this on our YouTube, Facebook,